pleasure to see you again and talk about this one, which you wrote. Tell us about how, in your mind, the dinosaurs had to evolve for a second one.
I think the dinosaurs had to evolve toward being more like animals in our world today, in that we fear them, we respect them, we love them, depending on the situation and depending on how much threat they're under. And so this is a movie where we put the dinosaurs in a very perilous situation where they're under threat and they're escaping from a situation that could kill them all, and humans have to answer an ethical question, a moral question, whether or not we have a responsibility to save them or whether we should let nature take its course and they go extinct again.
How much does the advance in technology help you in your creativity, and how much you can write and how much you can build them as characters?
I think we've reached a point now where there are very few things that can't be realized one way or the other. So we focus much more on a compelling story that's going to make you care about these people and the adventure that they're on and the danger that they're in. And I trust that all of our brilliant technicians will be able to find a way to have a volcano and a dinosaur in the same frame.
Well, in this trilogy, this is what's different. You want us to care about these people and these species. This is what's new about Jurassic World, isn't it?
It's part of it, yeah. I mean, I guess as a kid, I always cared about the dinosaurs, and I feel like we're just catching up with the audience a little bit and just recognizing something that is just inherently true, in that we feel a kinship with these animals, even though we fear the T-Rex, we love the T-Rex, and so we're weaving that into the story narratively, even though I think it's always existed.
That's a very good point. Everyone's grown up watching those dinosaur films, so are you able to gauge, now that you're so involved in them, what audiences are most fascinated with and why this is an enduring story?
I think that, almost every child seems to go through a dinosaur phase at some point. And so there's something almost in our DNA that draws us to these creatures. And I feel like you could, if I lined up for my daughter 5 different monsters and one of them was a dinosaur, I feel like she would reach for the dinosaur. And I don't know what that is, and we can't really explain it, but it's undeniable.
It's true, even the girls. My daughter too, she's not even 2 and she's quite drawn to dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Is that why there's a young girl character in the film?
There's a young girl character because she is a crucial keystone character in the franchise, in this trilogy that we're telling, and she's somebody who we thought could explore ideas of identity and of a sense of place in the world, and things that I think a lot of young girls and boys deal with, from refugees to people who are adopted. Like, there's just so many different kinds of families, and we found there to be an opportunity here to talk about that in a way that was still within the boundaries of our story.
J.A. said that those movies are very topical. So if there were any metaphors about science and nature, what are they to you?
I think they're articulated in the film, and we try not to have a message. We're not a preachy kind of a movie, but I feel like most people can agree that we are now suffering consequences globally in our climate based on choices that we've made as human beings, and most consequences are suffered if they're that big many years, sometimes decades after those choices are made, and so that's why we put Ian Malcolm in the movie. We felt like he was somebody like Al Gore, who had 20, 30 years ago in the 90s had said, look, something terrible is going to happen if we don't change our behavior and make different choices. And sure enough, that has all happened. And now he's back to say, well, it happened. There's nothing we can do. How are we going to deal with it now?
Absolutely. When you have lead actors like Chris and Bryce, who are this new breed of relatable movie stars, how much does that also morph the way you write the characters, because the audiences kind of identify with them?
I think that's really important, and we have a lot. I think our new characters in this, Daniela Pineda and Justice Smith, I think all of them are just very relatable people, and Maisie as well. I think that there's someone who anyone in the audience can find someone in this movie that they can connect to and travel through this story in the shoes of, which I think is really important in a film.
You directed the first one, not this one, but the next. How amazing is it for you to watch, as an audience member when it's all complete, and to see how, from a page it can look so sensationally real?
It's incredible. Like I didn't get that privilege on this one of just being able to walk in and see it, because I was there the whole time. But there would be moments when I hadn't seen a shot, and JA would show me what they've done in a render, and it's always breathtaking. So I try to cherish those little moments where I get to see it for the first time, because I know I'll never get that full experience that anyone else gets when they go to the theater.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's the downside of being a
curse
filmmaker.
Of being a filmmaker.
Well, I was talking with Jay about Steven Spielberg, who I know is a very big movie enthusiast, and I'm sure he lets people have their own vision, because that's what he's all about. So how much does he get involved, and how much does he not?
Well, on this one, he gave me a lot of freedom to really tell the story I want to tell. The last film did very well, and it earned us one to just tell the story we wanted to tell. So I worked with Derek on the script a great deal, and then by the time we got to JA, then the partnership really shifted to JA and I having those conversations about where to take it, and we collaborated on a level that I certainly unprecedented in my career, as far as two directors and one who is writing for the other, and I just found it was very special. It's a very unique relationship that I'll always cherish. It was really incredible.
Yeah, nice group of people. It does feel like it, from the cast to the filmmakers. Do you remember watching the first Jurassic Park films, and what was your initial reaction?
I do remember it. I was a teenager, and I remember feeling like it was a moment when your imagination was no longer limited by technology, that you could really do whatever you want. And so, but my answer to that was, don't just do anything. Don't go too far. And I feel like Jurassic Park has still served as a great touchstone for 25 years of how to blend the practical and the digital in ways that allow it to still feel grounded in the world that we live in, and not elsewhere.
As I said, it's no secret that this is a trilogy, and this really sets it up for the third one. So what are you bracing yourself for? And I think the audience is in it for a hoot.
I think it's clear when you get to the film. Like we get to the end of the film, we give you a taste of what's to come. But to me, the stuff that JA and I really worked on was how to set up the characters to be a human story that you're invested in, and you want to know, well, what's going to happen to those people, and how are they going to change? And the dynamic between the three of them is very complicated, and that's the thing I'm most excited about. Of course, I'm excited to have dinosaurs eat people, but for us to have turned this into a character-based franchise, which Jurassic Park hasn't historically, been known for a movie where you're just wondering, what's going to happen dramatically between these people next. I felt like that was a requirement in order for it to justify its existence going forward, and so we've done our best.
And finally, the obvious question, this is not a movie for the small screen. This is a movie that reminds us that those big adventure blockbusters belong on the big screen. How important is it to emphasize that?
I think it's not just that it's on a big screen, but that it's on a big screen with a lot of people. I think it's a shared experience movie. So go with your family, like get into a space where you're like shoulder to shoulder with people who are all screaming, because that's the best way to watch it.